Welcome to Simplyrobotix, the podcast, a podcast exploring the animation industry one episode at a time. I'm your host, Monique, and you can find me on all social media platforms at Simplyrobotix, Simplyrobotix. So let me just start by saying this is an episode that is being sponsored by Autodesk. I try and make sure that every Autodesk sponsored episode is, I don't know, just amazing. It's just good. And it was so important for me to share this episode with a young lady by the name of Deborah Anderson, who also goes by BlkWmnAnimator on social media. Deborah is a 3D modeler and she has this awesome YouTube channel that's just so informative and highlights so many people. And I know I'm starting to spoil it a little bit, so let's just get right into the episode. Yes, today I thought it would be fun, one, to do a live stream because of my lovely guest that I have here. And two, this is like so long overdue. I know some of our peers have been like, oh, y'all need to do like a collab, blah, 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 blah. So like, finally, we are doing it. Deborah, aka BlkWmnAnimator, please tell our audience, I know I just said your name, but who you are and where you're from.
I am Deborah Anderson, and I am from Detroit, Michigan, now living in Los Angeles, California.
Okay. And tell us what you do. Well, yeah, just tell us what you do. The questions, we're going to get a deep dive into it.
So currently, this is the last week of school, so I'm teaching 3D design at Academy of Media Arts in Crenshaw to 9th and 10th graders, but my specialty is 3D modeling, so I'm still working on re-breaking into the industry.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to get into what that means, re-breaking into the industry. Did you
Mm-hmm.
go to school for modeling, like 3D modeling, or did you do any online, like course intensive programs?
Yeah, I went to college, Rochester Institute of Technology. I did the film, video, and animation program. So, like I took an animation course in high school when I did like several community college courses. But I can remember one of my projects, and it was like I had a pool table, and the balls were like hitting on the pool table, and they had faces and stuff, but it wasn't no for real 3D modeling. So I think I got I got introduced to more specific 3D modeling in college. My freshman year, spring quarter, I got to take my first like animation related course because all the other courses were like film related and stuff. And so I had a really good TA who's my mentor to this day, Karabo Lakwela. And that's kind of when I fell in love with modeling. And, I tried all the other stuff. I just personally thought I sucked at it. So
That's a good question I need to incorporate. Like, how'd you get introduced into what you're doing or what you're specializing in, what you're passionate about? That was really good. So, can you tell my viewers, because some may or may not know, what does a modeler actually do and what kind of opportunities are available for someone who's like interested in modeling?
yeah, so when I go do speaking engagements, I usually like go through the whole pipeline. So the modeling pieces, I usually tell people when you open up a 3D program, everything is empty. It's all gray or blue, whatever program you open up. It's just all empty, and everything has to be created in the world. So that's what 3D modelers do, whether they are character modelers or environment modelers, prop modelers. Everything has to be created. There's nothing that already exists unless you like use pre-existing assets from another project. But you have to create everything in the world. So that's what 3D modelers do, and multiple opportunities that are available. Like I mentioned, you can be an environment modeler, prop modeler, character modeler. If you start your career, well, not start because I started my career in Korea, but I like went to Louisiana, and so that's going to be more like a generalist thing. So you might I did a lot of industrial manufacturing because I worked for the state of Louisiana. There's people who like make assets for like criminal cases, legal like animation stuff. So you could make it's not high tech, but you can do that type stuff. There's the architecture side as well, like CAD modeling and stuff like that. So you can go real cerebral with it. So there's a lot of opportunities.
You said environmental and props modeling. So I know what you mean by that, but can you just expand upon that a little bit more?
Yeah, so with environment modeling, that's either like buildings or nature, if you're making the trees or rocks, if it's the Sahara Desert, like it's all the environments that you're going to be creating. And then props modeling is your, like, if you have a suitcase that somebody needs or a lamp or a table, sometimes if it might be environment, it might be prop depending on whatever, but like a rope, like whatever prop a character may use or might be in an environment. So,
and I also like to ask my guests, what was like your first job ever versus your first job in the industry? Because it's like not always like, coincides or whatever.
My first job ever was working at Mickey D's.
Okay, whoop whoop. I also worked there.
Yeah, so like I worked the grill, worked the cash register. I realized working at McDonald's, like, if it's a rush, like, you would be making like 50 burgers and it'd be like 2 minutes past. I'm like, what is this?
That's
like?
so true. Yeah.
And then I remember on sometimes I work on Saturday and I would work from morning to afternoon. And so when I worked at McDonald's, the McGriddles had just came out. And so, they would sometimes like throw them away from breakfast. So, I mean, I like the McGriddle buns because they like pancakes.
Right.
Syrup in them. And so when we were changing over to lunch, I remember I took like the double cheeseburger wrapper and like wrapped up a couple buns and like put them in my pocket and would burn the heck out of my thigh. Like,
that is hilarious. You smuggling like McGriddles home?
They was gonna throw them away anyway, so why not?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I remember working at McDonald's.
I hated it. I worked in the summertime, and I just remember one shift I was like on fries, the whole shift, the whole 4 hours, and that was death in the summer. And I was like, I can't do this job anymore.
I, interestingly enough, don't remember hate being on the cash register, even though I didn't really talk that much and it required human interaction. Like, I don't know. I guess maybe I did okay on the cash register. But then my first job in the industry was in South Korea, where I got to work on Family Guy, Cleveland Show, and Batman and Scooby-Doo.
Let's get into it. So that was your first job in the industry. What made you take the leap into like an international opportunity?
It was totally by accident. So I graduated from college in 2008. So that's when everything was trash. And so I was trying to get a job. I also didn't like properly try to get a job because, with our industry, there's what's called a demo reel. So you're usually creating like a video of your work. And I was just like, had a website with some images on it and was trying to get a job. And so I, in 2009, the year after college, I was like, well, if I don't get a job in animation, let me go teach English. Because one of my college classmates that I knew, she was like posting. It was so interesting. I didn't even talk to this girl like that, but she was like posting all these like pictures of like she was like bungee jumping and whitewater rafting. And for some reason, I asked her like, "What are you doing?" And she told me she was teaching English in Korea, and I had never heard of that before then. So I applied to teach English in Korea. And the thing was, I like applied in maybe June. And if you want to be there in August, you should apply in like March. So I didn't even realize. Luckily, like being ignorant of how things go worked in my favor, because if I knew that, I probably wouldn't have applied. So I didn't realize I was applying late. So literally within like 60 days, I got a job and was in Korea.
That was the job that you got out there, the teaching?
Yeah, teaching English. Because back then, like it's more stringent now, but back then you had to have a degree in anything, like not English or like just anything. And you had to be from either America, Canada, England, South Africa, Australia / New Zealand, or sometimes like Ireland stuff. But you just have to be from one of those countries to have a degree. So I was like, well, that's easy. So let me go live in a foreign country right quick since I can't get my dream job. And so, I taught English, and then I was actually going to renew my contract. And one of my friends was like, "Don't you got a degree in animation?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." So, because like teaching English is really easy. You got 4 classes. Well, at least at a public school, you got 4 classes a day. You get off at like 4:30. You got weekends. You got plenty of money. So I was like, hey, let me do this again. And so after he reminded me that, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should like start going back to America, or just at least not renew my contract. But then I was like, okay, I've never seen an animation studio. So I emailed like a bunch of Korean animation studios to ask if I can get a tour, and 2 responded. So I was living in Gwangju, which is in the southwest of Korea, and an incubator responded in Gwangju, and it was like the incubator was just like multiple animation companies, like people kind of doing startups. And the girl who took me around was like, oh, you would need to know Korean. Because I wasn't actually looking for a job. I just wanted a tour. But she was just like, oh, you would need to know the Korean. And then I went to digital animation. And at the end of the tour, they were like, do you have a demo reel? I was like, no, but I can. So for the next 4 months, like in between classes at school, I brought my laptop in between classes at school after work. And on the weekend, I would work on my demo reel. And like 4 months to the day, I like sent my demo reel after I like initially reached out to them, and they invited me back up to Seoul. And I'm like, I hope they invite me back up to offer me a job, because why else am I about to make a 3-hour bus ride?
Oh shoot!
And then they offered me the position, but I was like sitting there like, because when you teach English, they provide your apartment, they pay your bills and all this stuff. And so I was like, how am I gonna find an apartment and all this stuff? But I'm thinking this in my head, but then I was like, maybe God wouldn't give it to me if I wouldn't figure it out. So I just like, okay, I'll do it. Yes, I will take the job. And the vice president, she helped me go apartment shopping, and she helped me at the dang, what is it called? The place where you do foreign things in countries.
The embassy?
It wasn't the embassy. It was like just the foreigner off. The further I get away from that, I'm like, I don't remember none of these words. But I was there. She helped me like get my visa and stuff like that. So it was a really good opportunity.
Yeah. So now that you get in the studio, what was that like? Just you're working on these shows. Family Guy at that time was popular, right? Was that when it came back from being canceled?
One of the I worked on a popular episode called the Angry Elves episode, where Stewie and Brian go to Canada, and like the year before I got the job is when they did the they would do the spoofs of different movies. So they did Star Wars spoof. Like yes. I could have worked on that if I had got there a year earlier.
Gotcha.
And so something I realized through working in Korea is that like a lot of the pre-production and writing and stuff is done in California, and like a lot of the grunt work is done overseas. So if you think about Singapore or Korea, Mexico, India, and I just call it grunt work because I was like working 12-hour days, like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Dang.
6 days a week.
Yeah.
But then after a little while, they start feeling sorry for me, so they start like lessening certain things. Like we would typically go home on Saturday at like 6, but then sometimes they would do like 3. And then after a while, they like rotated who could have a Saturday off. And so every maybe 6 Saturdays, I would get a Saturday off. So
what was it like for you seeing like your name in the credits for like the first time?
It was really cool because I feel like people in our industry wait like 10 to 15 years before they get their names in the credits, and my first job provided me with that opportunity.
True.
And so I feel like for my personality, it kind of delivered me from like striving for that. And so now if I want to get a job, I'm more willing to take a job at a place where I'm not necessarily going to be famous or like have my name in the credits or whatever, just like pay me. So
no, you're always going to have your name in the credits, but I know something that we've talked about just like off record was about like how artists naturally are going to be proud to see their work on screen. So as a modeler, your work may not always make it into the final images. They might not make it into the movies or the TV shows or what have you. So by having your name and credits and getting that recognition already, you feel like, you know, you've
I don't
released
have to
that.
strive for that anymore.
Right.
And to be honest, like even when I graduated from college, I never had aspirations of moving to California.
Oh,
like
same.
I thought New Orleans was gonna be my forever city. And I never was like, oh man, I want to work for like Pixar, or I might have wanted to work for Disney because like Walt Disney is like someone I respect that in the industry as far as like what he did for the industry to take it to another level. But I also like I didn't make friends with people in my major that much, which is a part of why I probably didn't move to California, because my thought is people like become friends in college and then, oh, let's all move out to California, let's live 5 in one apartment and struggle together. But all my friends were like outside of my major, and so I just was like, well, I can't do that. And so I just never had this like aspirations of, man, I just want to work for them one day. Like, oh, I'll just work.
You know, that's so real because, like, I also, unfortunately, don't have that many, like, friends from the time that I was in college, even underclassmen or a little bit older. Like, the friends that I have that went to my college are people that I've just met out in the world. And it's like, oh, you want to SBA? Me too. So, I mean, besides the fact that I didn't also want to go to California, there wasn't that like, oh, well, we're going, you should come with us type of thing. But like, you're in California now. So what?
Yeah, even like, so I thought New Orleans was going to be my forever city. And then, you know, you try to make a way for yourself, hustle, whatever. But, you know, everywhere in the country, it's like who you know, not what you know. But in New Orleans, it's like times 1,000. Because it's a big like, oh, what is your last name? Like, what high school did you go to? What neighborhood are you? Like, sometimes what skin color are you? Like, so it's like a lot of things. Because even somebody who used to be the CEO of Entergy New Orleans, which is like the power people, he said that at one of like I was in a leadership program, and he was like, yeah, I've lived in New York City, and like it's who you know, but in New Orleans it's like, okay, it like who do you know? For real, like,
Gotcha.
unless. And so trying to make my own way was nearly impossible. And then I have all these like isms, particularly like obviously I'm a Black woman, but also I look 10 to 15 years younger than I actually am. And so people are always trying to give me advice like, bro, I tried that like 10 years ago. Like,
yeah,
I'm not like 20. So
mind blown. They can't figure it out. Yeah.
They be giving you basic advice like, okay, thanks. And they don't even be in your industry, so I don't know what you talking about. They talk about. So I decided in 2019 that I was gonna move. And I didn't know where I was going to move because I thought it was going to be in New Orleans forever. So I had to like create a spreadsheet because, you know, I use both sides of my brain. Like, so I'm analytical in some way. So I'm like, let me get a spreadsheet. Like, it was like, where do Black men live?
Oh,
so like, good at dating. Like, where, like the cost of living.
That's very real though.
Because like I felt like, okay, I'm in an industry that is mostly white people, so I need there to be a Black population so I can escape. So it was like no Austin, no Seattle. Like,
yeah. And I think about that a lot too with food. Like, you know, like I'm so spoiled being in New York, and especially like I'm in Queens, so I have access to a lot of different kinds of food very quickly. So if and when I were to relocate, I'm like, can I still get Caribbean food? Can I still get not just Mexican food, but like Puerto Rican or Dominican food? Like, you know.
Man, I was introduced to Dominican food at RIT. They would come on Mondays. I was like, yes, let me go get a plate. But anyway, so like the number one on my list was actually Charlotte, but they were actually worse. They hit everything except like jobs, which that's why I was moving. Because I struggled so much. I like worked at a job that I didn't like, and I couldn't get another job, even though I job searched. And so I didn't initially have California on my list, and then I was part of the National Urban League Young Professionals, and I went to like a conference, and somebody who lived in the Bay Area, I think, suggested that, I just put it on my list. And I don't really know the jump from like not wanting to move to California to actually deciding to move to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Don't really know how that went, but I decided to. And so that's what I did, because I was like, okay, this is like a big place. Like, if I don't like my supervisor, or if I don't like a company, I can just go somewhere else, and there's plenty of options. So
when
I want to know what that felt like.
Left Blue Sky, I was considering California myself, because I was just like where else do I go, type of thing. But I was getting interviews from stuff out there, but it ended up not working out. And I think in hindsight, that was ultimately best for me, because like what I heard through the grapevine is like, I made it to a second round of an interview, and I just ended up being like, no, I don't want to continue. And the person that I would have been working for, essentially that supervisor, was like not a great person. And the position was also temporary. Like, it was the end of the pipeline type of thing. Like, the movie was coming out in like 8 months. They just needed to ramp up. So who knows if I would have been moved on to another film. So I was like, this is a lot to do for so much uncertainty. And the salary was just trash too. So I was like, even though I know people out there, it's like it was just like kind of too much change. And I was like, you know what? I'll just do something. And I ended up working at Michael's for like a year. But if there was another employment opportunity that came up for you to like leave America, would you take it?
I probably wouldn't do that. Because my parents, I would like to be. I like to be relatively close to my parents. Like, I haven't lived in Michigan since like high school, like as a permanent resident.
Gotcha.
But when I was in Korea, when I had the money, I didn't have the time to come home, and when I had the time, I didn't have the money to come home. So, I mean, theoretically, if I was balling, and I would possibly live in a foreign country, and if I could just come home, but probably not right now. So.
Okay, so you did mention earlier that you are teaching, but what are you also doing? Like, are you still working on your reel? I know we're going to get into BlkWmnAnimator soon, but just outside of teaching, are you doing any freelance modeling things on the side, or anything?
So, for transparency,
we love transparency.
I feel like my personal feeling is that after I left my last job, I felt like I had like it was traumatic. And so, because I felt like the whole 5.5 years there, I was treated differently because I was a Black woman. And so, in addition to being involved in the National Urban League movement, and a lot of my free time was spent doing like social action, community, like social justice work. And so I didn't have that times where I was like doing stuff in my free time, as far as art. And so all my time doing 3D stuff was at work, where I didn't feel like I was being appreciated. So I would kind of belabor how long my stuff took to turn in. And so I got slower. And so if you combine that with also not having personal projects that I worked on, once I moved to Los Angeles, not in relation to the pandemic, even though the pandemic hit a month later, I was I don't think I was depressed. I just was like, I felt like I had PTSD from my last job, and I just wanted to rest. And also, I had just finished a 2-year term as president of my local New Orleans Young Professional chapter, and I felt like that was the most thankless thing I've ever done in my life.
Oh, dang!
And so, like, I just wanted to rest.
Yeah.
And I like had to go to events for 2 years because I was president, and I had to like be the first one there and the last one to leave. So I just was like, okay, I want to rest. And then, without that structure of having a job when I first moved to Los Angeles, like I don't thrive in no structure. Like, if I have too much time, then I end up doing nothing. And so it was just really hard for me to work on my demo reel. And so I didn't work on it. I still did my YouTube channel, but as far as like doing any work, I did do like my tribal environment that is on my website, but I didn't really go for the gusto. And so if you if I was just to say that, people would think it would be related to the pandemic, but all the pandemic did was provide me like like a lot of time to do nothing. And that was like, I need structure. Like, oh, I'm going to do this after work. Like I can do this from 5 to 7 or something like that. If I don't have anything to work around, then I'm like, okay, I was staying up till like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then I was like renting a room from some people, and so I would feel guilty. Like, are they going to judge me if I wake up at noon or like 2? So then I would like wake up earlier than I probably should if I were to go to sleep at 3, and then I just would still do nothing. So yeah, it was a lot.
No, thanks for that transparency.
I'm still trying to work through like getting that motivation back, because even ever since high school, I've been the type of person to be like busy, and I thrive in that. And so even trying to do my YouTube channel, like I think was it last week the week before last week I didn't have a video. It's just like sometimes I'm just like, I need to do stuff, but then I don't do it. So
yeah, but like rest and pacing yourself is important, because let's get into BlkWmnAnimator, your YouTube channel and all the things that you do on it. But like you, like I say, like elevated your channel, right? Recently we talked about like you updating your thumbnails, your posting schedule the frequency has increased over the last year and change possibly. There was even a moment where you brought on someone else to your channel and gave them an opportunity. So let's start from the beginning. Why and when did you start BlkWmnAnimator?
So I've used the phrase BlkWmnAnimator since college, or well, actually, I think it goes back to 2008. So that's when I graduated from college. And the reason I go by BlkWmnAnimator is because nobody knows what a 3D modeler is. So
yeah, everyone's an animator and everyone's a graphic designer. Like that's just it.
And like what a lot of people inside and outside the industry, like I feel like, I don't know, most people don't really understand what BlkWmnAnimator is about because they're like based on what suggestions they give me. But I call myself BlkWmnAnimator not for the people in the industry, but it's for the people who have like children who want to be in animation, or people who need help and they're just like, oh, BlkWmnAnimator, maybe she's Black like me, or she's a woman/girl like me. Maybe I can reach out to her. So that's why I go by BlkWmnAnimator. It's not to be accurate. It's so somebody else could see me and if they want to reach out to me, they can. And so, so it was just like a moniker that I went by. And then so from maybe 2012, 2013, I started doing like speaking engagements and workshops and classes around New Orleans and Louisiana. And something that I felt was that when you're from Louisiana, you either stay in Louisiana or you leave and come back. So I felt like if I was to do like classes and try to prepare all these people for the animation industry, it would be setting them up for failure, because they are most likely never going to leave the state, and there was no infrastructure, no industry for them to get jobs. So that made me decide to take it online, because I could just reach more people and more people who were probably willing to move to the areas where they can actually be in the industry. So 2017 is when I did my first YouTube video, which is called Diversity in Animation. So it was my thought about what I felt like diversity in animation was, and not just limited to race or gender, but like being able to teach anyone from 5 to 75 how to do animation, and like thinking about people in rural areas in addition to people in urban areas and stuff like that. So that was my first like video, and then, or like produced video. And then in 2019, I decided to start posting every week. And so that's when I was posting. It was more like me talking to the camera and giving tips, or talking about various topics around race, gender, and everything else. And then in 2020, I decided to, because I have like a lot of ideas of like talking to the camera and doing that stuff, but it has to be more edited. And I had a crappy computer at the time, so I couldn't do any of it because I had to do so much stuff to get After Effects to work on my computer. And so I was like, what can I do that is still going to be interesting, but I am capable of doing on this crappy computer. So that was like interviewing people. And so, because I just have to clip the beginning and the end, and depending on the person, a lot of cutting in the middle, but it's usually beginning and end. And so I started reaching out. I like Ben Price, who runs African and American Animators Past and Present Facebook page. I just like took all the stuff that he wrote and like started reaching out to people. Some people that I've had on my channel, like they were my friends for like my Facebook friends for a long time, but I never talked to them. So like Dan Haskett.
Yeah.
I was like, let me reach out to him like 3 times without wanting anything, and then ask him. I felt bad for like never talking to him and then wanting something from him. So, like I started reaching out to people and having them on my channel, and so that's how I got into interviewing people. It was because I had a crappy computer.
No, but I want to like just also point out that you are not just like interviewing people. You are kind of like going and turning over rocks and finding Black people that worked in the animation industry in various capacities that we would like literally not know. Like you're making essentially like a visual like database of uncommon names for us, you know? And there's a lot of like senior people and just like OGs that I would say, which is also really good because we're kind of like aware of each other and aware of I guess just one generation up above us. Yeah. But you're going even beyond that. Like I said, like people that were a part of the founding of like the animation industry. And I think that's one really important what you're doing, because like if we don't document our history and tell our own stories, they're just going to be lost, right? So we need to say that.
Yeah, and something that's funny is that people will see all these people that they've never heard of and be like, oh, you should get Bruce Smith and Floyd Norman. I'm like, first of all, duh. But second of all, like, these people are important too.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Like, in that you can find like 25 to 40 interviews on Bruce Smith and Floyd Norman. I would love to interview them, but I like highlighting the people that nobody knows about because they are very appreciative of it.
Right. Because, so, for instance, you also interviewed the woman that voiced Sita from Sita's World. And that was, like, dope and exciting for me because I was like, oh, my gosh, like, you know. And did you also do someone who voiced one of the muses, right, from Hercules?
Yeah, Roz Ryan. She's from Detroit.
See? Look at that. Like, you know, like.
And she knew, like, my grandma did her hair when she was younger.
That's just so cool and so dope. So like what's one thing that you can say, or how has BlkWmnAnimator, your platform, grown over the last years? Like is there one thing that you say like, yeah, this was like definitely, I don't know, a growth? Am I making sense?
Yes.
Okay.
First, I would like to mention that tomorrow on BET,
well, this is coming out way after tomorrow. But still, whoever's watching now, still.
Well, at some point in life, you can go to BET and watch Encore, I guess it is. It's like a TV show where they are putting together like people who have been in girl groups. So like the girl with the lisp from 3LW.
Oh my gosh, right. Keely.
And like other people like from like Danity Kane. Like they just like having a competition where they're forming a super girl group.
Oh.
And Sita is going to host it.
Oh, that's great.
So I want to mention that.
Yeah, well this episode, I mean, you guys are getting a preview who's watching it live. If y'all are listening, you should be, you know, subscribed to my YouTube and Twitch and all that sort of stuff so you get these random things. But this episode actually is coming out in a couple of weeks. So I mean, look for it, you know.
Yeah, still look for it. So I just wanted to mention that since you brought up Sita.
Yeah.
Because everybody was like, oh, I will be, because they wanted her to host the BET Awards last year. So.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah.
And funny.
But yes, to answer your question, the growth of my channel, I feel like I definitely look back at some videos and I'm like, woo, Lord, like I'm glad I just pushed it because I'm like a perfectionist.
Yeah.
But I've also been delivered from perfectionism because in 2016 I like created a hashtag for the year because I'm the type person where I would like read 50 articles about something and not do a doggone thing, like, and be suffering from analysis paralysis. So in 2016, I created a hashtag called action and execution. And that was all about like doing, like stop reading and do stuff. Because also like I felt like I was calling myself an artist, but I didn't do art.
Snap, 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 snap. I understand.
So I look back at some videos and I'm like, well, I'm glad I put it out there, but I'm glad I've gotten better. And I don't even know, since I'm such like a perfectionist, I'm like, I don't even know how I got better. I didn't like actively be like, okay, I have to do this better. It just, my videos got better. And so I'm appreciative of that by happenstance. And then just more people recognizing me through like me constantly posting on my Facebook where my family and friends are. They're more recognizing like, okay, this is what Deborah does. This is her wheelhouse. So, people reach out, like people will like inbox me and send me some animation stuff. And, we be in all these discords and following all the pages. So you most likely are not showing me something new, but I don't say that no more.
I know.
I'm an evolved Virgo. So now I just be like, thank you. But sometimes people send me new stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's cool.
I feel you. So another thing that you've done on your channel, which we haven't spoken about, and for everybody, like I was trying to, there's just so much to talk to you about. So we're going to get to funner stuff, if that's not even a word. But, last year you called on me and some other people around the same, like, millennials in the industry. And you've had a couple different conversations with, I guess that was spawned from all the Black Lives Matter stuff that was happening last summer. Why did you feel that it was important for you to have some of these type of conversations on your channel?
Well, like my channel from before I started having people on it was always about like, and this, I also did this as president of the Urban League. And even when I was like secretary or social and cultural chair, like I'm always trying to do stuff that's different or thinks about a different group of people who are not thought about. And so when I like tackled the topic of, when they came out with that Wreck-It Ralph trailer and like in July they came out with it and Tiana was like dark skinned and looked like the 2D. And then in September they did the Okie Dokie and she looked like mixed with curly hair. And I was like, nope. Cause the people trying to say, oh, it's so hard to learn a dark skinned person. And I could use my expertise as someone in the industry, like, nope, you could light link, you could do a light. If you could light a black suit, you can light a black person. So don't even try.
Yes.
And then I like did a video about, the women in animation team up with the Annenberg and came up with a gender study. And I just was like, y'all not even trying to solve this problem.
Right.
So I always try to like talk about topics that are different. And like what not what other people are doing. Even in the Black animation space, I want to like carve myself out as different and like doing different things. So I felt like a lot of people felt that stuff was performative, and I wanted, if there was any allies that was actually going to listen and try to get what we really thought, I wanted to bring people together to say what we really thought, because it was called What Y'all Think, because it was like, okay, I was like, okay, let me start off with a couple positive questions, but then let's get into what this is like, not for real, like y'all not about to do nothing for real. Y'all just gonna put these little black backgrounds and white text.
I know, that was so annoying.
6 to 9 months. The only people I believe was Sesame Street, because they've been true since the beginning. So yeah, I just wanted to bring some people together. Like essentially I just get an idea and then I'm like, who could be on the panel? Let's see if everybody can meet on one day. And then I just put it together. So I did that one. I did the Black Women in Animation and we didn't even cover what I actually wanted to do, because we were trying to, I wanted to call out Black men and their lack of support, and I ain't even,
Ooh.
we didn't even talk about that. And then I did like a Black Greek panel, because like all the people that I got on that panel was like all the people, like there might be one more.
And I think that's really interesting because, like, you know, Black Greek life is a thing, but it doesn't seem like, you know, I mean, and I don't know anything about that. I went to art school, but like, it just would be dope if that culture could find its way in the animation industry too. But like, if I think about art school, like the clubs that we had, which was like funny, but we had like a Mario Kart club where like we just got together, you know, every week and played Mario Kart. And we had a Glee club, which you would think it was about singing, but no, we just got together every week and watched Glee, like, you know. So like art school was like a big joke in that sense. And like I think if you wanted to be in Greek life, you really had to do some like external thing, you know. So
yeah, it was like a two-pronged reason, because people watch like all these Greek things on TV, which is mostly white Greeks, and they think Black Greeks are the same, and it's like, yeah, no, we totally different. Because, you know, people be like, oh, you bought your friends, and it's like, we're organizations that like give millions of dollars to March of Dimes, and we do so much community service. And another thing is that people go to college and just go to our parties and then don't come to none of our stuff of substance, and then still judge us for like.
That's very true.
So it just was like, I wanted to educate people, like these organizations actually have like a great history. We do stuff of importance. And so that's kind of what I thought of with that panel. So yeah, I just like to, and I have a couple ideas right now that I just have to like execute. But I just always, if it pops into my head and it's unique, and it doesn't always have to be unique, but that's what I like to do, be just like provide meat. Like that's what another thing, when I the time that I figured this out was when I was secretary of the Urban League Young Professionals in New Orleans. And because I was a leader, I had to come to the meetings, but they were like so boring. And I was like, if I was not a leader, I would not be here. So when I became president, or at least when I became social and cultural chair before I became president, I was like, if you come to my event, I want you to not regret coming and not want to go home. So like that's so what real. I think about with like all my videos and like all my YouTube lives and all that stuff. I'm just like, I need to provide meat. If I need you to provide substance, I need you to like not regret taking 2 hours out of your day to come do something that I put together.
And before we really change gears, I want to say that I did an interview that I think is going to be announced a couple weeks after this episode comes out. And it is of a Black woman that's actually trying to develop and curate like an animation scene in New Orleans. So, you know, if I catch wind of any opportunities, I'm definitely going to throw you the assist. But I think I'll tell you like off air to look out for, because it's really, she's from there. So, you know, she talks about just how rich the culture is and all that sort of stuff and the people. And she, you know, says that there's a lot of talent there and she wants to see them shine and thrive. So just knowing that you're very passionate about that, just being there, you know? So it will be dope if something really is able to happen and you can go back and work in the animation space and in your forever city.
Yeah, I probably won't move back to It would definitely be helpful if she needs any help.
Yeah, well, you know, what COVID has shown is that you don't need to be in California to work in animation, or you don't need to be wherever the opportunity is, as long as you have hopefully like good internet service and a webcam, you know, you're fine.
I hope more people realize that, because I feel like a lot of our peers and younger still operate on the old school sense of like, oh, I want to pitch this show to this big company. Just create it yourself. Do we not know who Issa Rae is? Like,
oh, I know. Yeah. I'm working on being our own version of Issa Rae.
Yes.
Working on it. Yeah, so we're pivoting now to talk about your favorite animated TV shows and movies. We're going to start with movies first. And you shared with me that Aladdin is one of your favorite movies. So if there are people out there in the world that know nothing about Aladdin, can you just give a little recap?
Aladdin is about a beggar boy who kind of pretends to be a prince to get the girl, but and then he runs into a genie who helps him do all this stuff. But my Aladdin is my favorite movie, not because of like any of the main storyline. It's my favorite movie because of Robin Williams. So
Okay.
like, Genie is like, I just like, and like Lion King used to be my favorite movie, but then after Robin Williams passed, I feel like I moved Aladdin up. So because what Robin Williams did with the Genie character, like he's just like an amazing actor, amazing voice actor. Even when they did like compare contrast like the scenes in the live action Aladdin to the animated Aladdin, like what he did with his voice and what they were able to do with the cartoon, it's like it's no comparison because you know they were able to like have like a boy turn into a sheep or something like that, and it's just like his ad-libbing was so awesome, and his voice and just all that. Like that's the number one reason like I like Aladdin is because of Genie.
So how did you feel about the live action?
I have not seen it.
Oh, so that says more than, you know, enough. Did I? I did watch it. I think I watched it at home. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay. You know, I don't think about it like ever.
He said, don't see it. I'm not rushing it. I literally just saw Spies in Disguise yesterday.
Well, that's good. What did you think of Spies in Disguise? You saw it before the meeting?
After.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So it was cool.
In comparison to Soul.
Yeah, like it's that I wouldn't. Yeah, you don't have to see Spider.
So you're not watching it again?
No, not at all.
That's fine. I'm not taking any offense to it because I don't think I saw it since the rap party. I haven't, and it's whatever.
Yeah.
So do you have a least favorite character from Aladdin?
I don't think so. Because I feel like, you know, Jafar, you gotta have a villain. Iago was annoying, but hey, Gilbert Gottfried. Like, I heard his voice. That's not even his real voice. But the monkey's cool. The rat is cool. Jasmine's cool. The carpet's cool. Like, I don't really have a least favorite character that I can think of.
That's fair. Another movie.
Everybody serves their purpose.
Another movie you shared was a Goofy movie. Now, I've had a couple guests to recap the movie already, so I'll spare you. But why is it one of your favorite movies?
Because Tevin Campbell, like,
he did that.
Yes, like and it was just a really good story about a father that he like loves his hard-headed teenage son who does, you know, teenagers be going through stuff and don't appreciate their parents, but also the blackness. And like I just love when we get to shine in a movie and our talents and our music and our like ad libs and all that stuff. I just love that.
Yeah, that Eye to Eye song, like, doesn't matter when that comes on. Like, I need a moment. This is like a dance break, like, you know.
So like it's a solid movie, but also the blackness.
And that's a great segue into Spider-Man into the SpiderVerse. Why? Also, I had a whole episode about that, so you don't have to recap that either. But I'm assuming blackness is a part of the reason why it's one of your favorites. But any other reasons?
Yeah, I feel like Into the Spider-Verse like set a high bar for the 3D animation industry because not only I feel like people concentrate on the visual a lot, but it also had great story and you could tell that they took care to create that movie because the combination of, you know, the Black and Puerto Rican part, but also how they were able to combine so many various types of animation with the different Spider-Mans and make it like seamless. And then the innovation with the Ben-Day dots and the comic book stuff. And it just was like, because, you know, I am like anti-remake. And so I feel like we went through a thing where all the 2D stuff was becoming 3D, and then
Yes,
all the
Rugrats.
2D stuff was becoming live action, and like it's just like Hollywood just does all these things over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was original, and it just, there was multiple things, writing, visuals, innovation, like they took so much care to craft this movie. So that's what I liked about it.
And moving on to TV shows, you basically, like, I have to go deep into my mental archives and I got nothing. And then I typed it into Google. You shared the show Hey Moni. And I was like, what is that? And then I found some old, like, low quality videos. And I was like, dang, I forgot everything about this show. You know, and it's the show, and looking at it, it seems like awkward black girl ish, like, you know. I was like, they could bring this back, you know, they could revive this completely, and I'd be down and here for it. So for the people, because I know there's a lot of people who have no idea what that is, tell them.
Yeah, you got to be a certain age to even remember that.
Yeah, I guess so. So one, we're telling on ourselves again. No, but yeah, what's that show about?
Was it on BT? It was like
it was on BT.
It was just like, and I was like a teenager. I wasn't even an adult, but it was like these two black women. Well, Moni is a black woman, and she has like a friend group, and it was just like these middle, like these 20 or 30-year-old black women, and it was like Living Single kind of.
Yeah.
But like not really, but it just like kind of went, because I remember it was like maybe Hey Moni, and then The Critic would come on.
Oh.
And so the critic was like that little white dude with the bald head.
No, I have to look that up too. Like, this is stuff I forgot that I have been exposed to. Like, you know, which is like, great.
Moni, it just was like, I just love people being black. So like,
seriously, and again to kind of help people visualize it. When you search it, like home movies comes up. So it's kind of similar in visual appearance to that. But it is just like if you think of Insecure and Atlanta, but in an animated, or Awkward Black Girl in the animated context, where it's just like these black women, well, Hey Moni, the black woman just like kind of going about her business, you know, like the thing that I saw on the internet, she was like on the phone and like going through her mail, like very basic, but the conversation that she's having was like, you know, enjoyable. So I should also mention now, links to everything that we're talking about is going to be in the official podcast description, show notes, all that sort of stuff. Moving on to the next show, which is my background, even though you can't see her, Pepper Ann. Why is this one of your favorite shows?
I feel like, you know, during that time, you have like, okay, there's like Disney princesses, but then there's like regular girls who are in like middle school, and she is dealing with all this stuff. She's kind of awkward. And you know, luckily I didn't get like bullied or anything in high school, but I wasn't like popular. So I feel like Pepper Ann, maybe because I watch a lot of stuff, and I have a lot of stuff from my childhood, and it's nothing where I like, you know how people in our industry, they're like, I watched this like 50 times. I don't have anything like that, but it's just these connections to various different properties where I'm just like, Pepper Ann was cool because it was like real and not like some popular person trying to do this or whatever. It's just a girl who's just trying to survive in school and in her family life and with her friends. So
my random story about Pepper Ann is like, that was the morning cartoon for me. Like in 5th grade, it was Recess came on first, and then Pepper Ann. So I used to watch just half of Pepper Ann, because if I watched any more, I was going to be late for school. So that was like my morning. I wake up, whatever, watch Pokemon, get ready, eat breakfast, watch some Recess, and then it's like, okay, girl, you got to get out. Like, I don't know what time I had school, but like half of Pepper Ann, don't watch the whole episode. What's you going to be late? You're going to get in trouble. So I don't know. I associate Pepper Ann with like 5th grade. And I couldn't wait to get, I couldn't wait to get to like, you know, 7th grade and 7th grade was rough for me. The next show that you shared with us was the Magic School Bus.
Yeah, like I wasn't a big science person in school. Like, I mean, I I did well in all my classes, but I just didn't like some of my classes. But I like Miss Frizzle and being able to learn different topics, but not realize you're learning. And I feel like that character was pretty awesome. They had diversity on the TV show, and it just was cool to like learn various things, but it's not like beat over your head. So that's why I like the Magic School Bus.
How do you feel about it having a remake? And have you checked it out?
I haven't watched it, and I understand like it's like her younger sister, but I'm just like, but she had like curly hair. How do redhead frizzy haired people feel like? Because don't she got like a blowout or something? Like,
yeah, her hair is like Laganya or whatever woman, redhead woman. She's kind of like that. And I heard that I didn't hear, I also saw it, that they made Keisha and whatever else his name is like slightly, significantly lighter than they used to be in the show.
It's like so much stuff in the 90s and 2000s was just ahead of its time and just so cool, like just authentically diverse, and then they just be doing stupid stuff today, and it's annoying.
Yeah, so I saw a tweet recently too that was just talking about like how Black Nickelodeon was at some point, and like how we're just never gonna get that back. And I was like, yeah, we really
they use us to, like, popularize their like stuff, because like UPN, they had all the Black shows on UPN, and they got up their viewership and then took all the Black shows away.
All of them.
They just use us and abuse us.
Some of the other honorable mentions that you shared with me, I'm going to run down the list and, feel free to talk about them. Recess, The Wild Thornberries, Rocket Power, great one. As Told by Ginger, also great one. The Weekenders, which I loved. And then you got into more like adult programming with The Boondocks and Big Mouth. So why were those like you just had to make sure that they got into?
It's just like I was telling you, there's like, it's impossible. Like, I picked 3 movies, but I probably wanted to do the same thing with the movies. It just was easier to pick 3 of my favorite movies. But it's just so hard to choose favorites because there's like different time periods. Like, there's the Looney Tunes period, and then there's like the Hanna-Barbera, and then there's like the 90s, and then there's the 2000s, and then there's the 2010s. It's like, yes. I cannot choose. There's just different pockets of my life where it was like, oh, Rocket Power and Weekenders. Like, what do I say? Later Days. Like, I always say that, but like nobody probably knows what I'm talking about.
I love the Weekenders so much, man. So much. So, I mean, we're not deep into like the roaring 20s, but has there been, in terms of shows, anything that has been standing out to you yet?
Well, I put Big Mouth on the list because I like that we're getting, I mean, we have a lot of shows to pick from now, but I like that we're getting away from the like animation is for kids thing and getting more into the, okay, it doesn't have to be Family Guy-ish or like Simpsons-ish, but it could still be animation and not be for kids. And so I like the diversity of things that's happening. In recent times, I've been watching like so much stuff. And so it's really trying to mine my brain for like new animation stuff that is poignant. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that.
No,
have
that's
you
fine.
been seeing any new stuff?
What's interesting is I always revert back to comfort programming. So even though like I tried watching like Craig of the Creek and Steven Universe, I say all the time I'm slowly getting through that. I revert back to Bob's Burgers all the time religiously because I like really am enjoying HBO Max and the archives that they have. I've also been rewatching Batman Beyond because something that I've missed that I think I spoke about it in a couple episodes back was like we really don't have teenage programming anymore. Yeah. So I'm really enjoying with Disney Plus going back and watching X-Men Evolution also. Teen Titans, not Go, just the regular Teen Titans. So I'm kind of in nostalgia land right now. And yeah, nothing new in terms of like series has really got a hold of me just yet.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Regular Creek, and so I started. I know I started watching it on the Cartoon Network app, but I am just notoriously horrible at watching things. Like, and it's not even like, oh, I don't want to watch all the stuff that everybody's talking about. It's just like I more likely than not multitasking while I'm doing stuff. So
True.
if I actually want to pay attention, I don't want to watch it yet, and so. I'm one of those people, like, one of my friends is one of those people where if you ask him, have you seen this? He's like, yes. If you ask me, have I seen it? I'm like, no.
Yeah, I feel you on that. If it wasn't for...
I know Breaking Bad is good, but I haven't seen that. I know, like, all these things is good. Like, everything, like, I watch This Is Us. That's, like, the popular thing that I've been watching. And, like, I watched, like, Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder for a time, but I hated that she kept going back to Fit.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. So I was like, I'm done with that. But I want to finish How to Get Away with Murder. It's just like, I just be sucking at watching stuff. Because, you know, you get into a mood and then you got to be in a mood to watch certain things. Yeah. And so I'm like, I have all this time and I could theoretically watch and catch up with something, but I'm not going to right now.
Yeah, I feel like if it wasn't for me doing reviews, there would be so much I wouldn't watch. Because like I said, I go back to comfort things. But because, too, like, movies are so much easier to review because it's just like one block of time. Yeah. Like, I want to review some series, but
tripping. They do like 23 episodes in one season. Like, yes. Come on.
Yeah, so I need to pull it together and start reviewing some shows because there is a lot of interesting stuff out there. Even if I'm reviewing just old stuff, like what is it now, like watching it now, 20 years later from whenever it came out. But it's just easier to watch a movie.
Yeah, it is.
So we're going to go into this game. It's really abbreviated. That I play called One's Gotta Go. Starting with Aladdin, Abu, Iago, or Raja.
I feel like Raja could go.
I was really wondering if you would say Iago because he's like bad, but I respect you.
I mean, I like Gilbert Gottfried character. So
yeah, I respect Raja.
Like a staple in my childhood. So
this is true. Very unforgettable voice. Next is Goofy movie. Powerline, Goofy, Max, or Roxanne.
What? Oh my Lord. I guess Roxanne.
Okay.
I was actually going. I was like, should I get rid of Max? Roxanne can go, I guess.
Okay.
It's not like an emphatic thing. I just got to pick one.
Well, we have 2 rounds for SpiderVerse. The first is Peter Parker, Peter B. Parker, and Spider-Gwen.
I'm gonna go with Peter Parker.
Okay. He went, in the movie, but still. Second round is Spider-Ham, Spider-Noir, or Penny Parker.
I'm gonna go with Penny.
Okay. Why are we going with Penny?
Spider-Ham, I feel like there was, because I've watched Into Spider-Verse maybe like twice.
Catch up.
I haven't watched it in a while, but I feel like there was like a line that was important for him. And then Noir, I like how they inputted him into it. And then Penny, what did she add?
She's just like the anime spider character.
No, I'm saying, what did she add?
Oh yeah, technology.
Not that she should be taken out. Because I liked all of this, but
yes, but one has to go.
Yeah, so she has to go.
So we're beginning to wind down. I gave you this question ahead of time because it stumps people all the time, and this is live, so I don't want you to feel like embarrassed or anything like that. What animated character, like of all time, do you feel that you're most like?
So I actually took a BuzzFeed quiz.
Oh, did you?
I was like. Because if it didn't come out with one, I took 2 quizzes actually, and the other
That's
one
hilarious.
I was like, nah, I'm good. But because it's like I'm not the type of person where I'm like, this person speaks to me or whatever. Like I just be watching stuff. But the second quiz came out with somebody who is pretty good, so
Okay.
I'll go with Lisa Simpson.
Oh, why did you agree with that?
Because she's intelligent, and then she be trying to do good stuff, and then she has an annoying brother.
Gotcha.
I have a twin brother who's annoying.
You know who you are.
Yes. And I played the trumpet in school, but I wasn't as good as her on the saxophone. But I feel like, because she's intelligent and she, be trying to do stuff, I feel like that was a good pick.
Cool. And the last question is, using animated characters, cast your biopic, whatever the people want to say.
So I decided to go with my immediate family, which is still large. But so, okay. For my father, I actually asked him, like, who would he like? And I agreed with his pick. So, my father is either or, and Brain from Pinky and the Brain and Marvin the Martian.
Okay.
So, like, he's like really intelligent. And then Marvin the Martian is like, I've been instructed not to say things in public. That's an inside joke with me and my father about like Marvin, like alien stuff.
Yeah.
And so my mom, I picked Belle from Beauty and the Beast. She's like organized and like loves to read. My stepmom, I picked Snow White because Snow White be taking care of all the dwarfs, and all the dwarfs are my like nieces and nephews. Like even through the pandemic, my stepmom was still going over my brother's house, like trying to take care of my nieces and nephews. So
I like how like your mom is Belle and your stepmom is Snow White, and they're like Disney princesses. Like, I think that's cute.
And then my twin brother is Genie from Aladdin because he's funny but trapped. And I won't go into.
Oh God! Did you ask him about this? Does he know?
No, I did not.
That's funny.
Yeah. I have a special needs brother, Michael. I'll go with like Ralph the dog from the Muppets because my brother like really likes music. He doesn't talk much, but he like really likes music, and I like Ralph the dog is like huggable and cuddable, and I love like hugging my brother. And then my sister Angie. Okay. Like forget like recent things and like problematic like storylines or whatever, but she's like a combination of Pepe Le Pew.
Oh gosh.
I would say Mulan. I was gonna pick another, like maybe like Kim Possible, like some like she's loving, but she's like very, I'll say protective.
Okay, yeah.
My dad called her the hood sister.
Pepe Le Pew is hilarious.
Because like I literally have a video of her, like whenever she sees me, she like gives me all these kisses, and it's kind of like similar to Pepe Le Pew. So like non-problematic. Pepe Le Pew. My sister Jabita, who's my older sister, Carmen Sandiego, she like loves to explore like a lot of concepts and ideas and stuff like that. So I just kind of like picked Carmen Sandiego to represent that. And then I have my bonus brothers, my brother Sean. Both my brother Sean and HJ are like big like family men and great dads. So I just would like toss up like Mr. Incredible of the Incredibles for my brother Sean because he's a family man and hardworking, and then Goofy from specifically from a Goofy movie.
Gotcha.
Because my brother HJ is a great dad and a hard worker. So
okay,
that's my biopic.
Yeah, you have the biggest cast yet.
Yeah, because like I be having to do diagrams because like me and my twin brother are the only like biologically like for me it's like my only biological brother. But I don't like do the half or like the step things. So.
Yeah. No, that's great. Well, also because people usually get this question and they're like, my brain just stopped working, so they could only do like two or three people.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave it to me beforehand because in like real time I would have been like, ooh.
So so this brings us to the end of our time today. Can you tell my listeners and viewers where they can find you, how they can learn more about you and what you're doing and all that good stuff?
So for my platform, you can, like my YouTube stuff, you can find me at BlkWmnAnimator, BlkWmnAnimator. But newly, I am doing like a separate thing for my like personal work, and so it's called Deb the 3D Modeler. And I just would like to say at a public forum that Twitter is a hater, because I don't know what happened, but I like tried to get Deb the 3D Modeler as a handle, and they immediately suspended my account.
What?
And I'm just like, I ain't even did nothing yet. Like, so I don't know if somebody had this before or something, because like I even tried to like create a new email, because I'm like, did I do something with my like Deborah at BlkWmnAnimator email? Like, I don't remember getting kicked off Twitter, but like they will not let me have this Deb 3D modeler.
That's
I'm like,
wild.
who did something?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm gonna have to do something totally different on Twitter. I don't know what I'm gonna have, but Deb the 3D modeler on Instagram, and my website is deb3dmodeler.com.
Now, didn't I tell you that this was going to be a good episode? Now, I wish that you were there live with us, because you probably could have asked Deborah any questions that you had, or, you know, just chime in and engage with us in real time. So I want to say thank you to Deborah. Thank you for those that tuned in live. Thank you for those that's watching and listening now. So remember that you can always watch these podcast episodes via my Patreon and becoming a subscriber on there. Also, I do these things randomly with some episodes on my Twitch and YouTube account, so you might want to be subscribed or a follower, a friend, whatever it's called, on those platforms too, because I give short notice. There will be a time where I would live stream directly for people on Patreon, but I'm not there yet, you know, because it's just enough more responsibility than I want right now. I like to thank all my Patreon subscribers, however, for, you know, just holding me down over these last couple months as I have been struggling to deliver the content. So what's really great is I don't charge you if I know I'm not going to have the content I promised on. So I did do like a tech haul where I shared a lot of the audio equipment that I've purchased. It was not sponsored, to help me record the interviews for my short film that I'm making. What else should I say? I think that's it. I think that really, really is it. I'm gonna have an episode hopefully soon, which will be kind of more personal, relatively intimate, because I think it's important just to share some things that I've been experiencing, and blah, 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 blah. We're going to get into that. But I rambled on enough. Look forward to the next coming episodes. Which I don't know what they're going to be about. I have no idea. But if you want to catch up on, like I said, what I'm doing to make this short film, that's only available on Patreon. So there's that. We've been doing a lot of behind the scenes, or I should say like pre-recorded things with Diverse Tunes as well. So if you're not, you know, following Diverse Tunes on social media, you might want to, because the things that we've been doing the past couple months and why I've slowed down with my Patreon content and even my podcast, they're going to start being released through the partnerships that we have with Diverse Tunes. So, you know, when I'm quiet, that means there's a lot of stuff happening. You know, so don't worry. Worry maybe just a little bit though. Check on me just a little bit. But I'm so grateful to have done this episode with Deborah. It's something that's we've talked about so many times. Just me having her. Eventually, you know, I'll be on her platform as she sees fit. And I just love this. I love this and I appreciate it so much. And until next time, and thank you always. Again, you can find me on all platforms at Simplyrobotix, website simplyrobotix.com, podcast hashtag Simplyrobotixpod. And thank you again, Autodesk, for the opportunity to just say that I'm sponsored. Like, it's so cool. Until next time, y'all. Bye.